Hello, my name's Mike Harris, and I'm the loan tester at Geckoboard. I've been a tester for about 20 years. Whilst I've been a tester, I've been a member of test teams, I've been a test lead, and now I'm a loan tester. As a loan tester at Geckoboard, I'm involved in doing exploratory testing and in test automation, for which I use Ghost Inspector. And I'm also involved in other initiatives to try and improve the quality of our code. Um, as a tester, I've also spoken at testing conferences. I've helped to organize testing conferences. I've contributed to 2 ebooks, and I have my own personal testing and quality blog. Thank you. Hello, my name's Mike Harris, and I work for Geckoboard. At Geckoboard, we aim to give every person in every organization access to understandable and relevant data. And we do this by helping people to make dashboards to display their data. These dashboards can be shared on Slack, they can be shared by email, they can be embedded into your applications. Or if you have an office, they can even be put on a TV and your office wall. Um, our dashboards are integrated with about 80 different integrations. So whatever your form your data is in, how are you using your data, you can bring it into Geckoboard and display it so that you can use it and share it within your organization. Yeah. Hello, I'm Mike Harris from Geckoboard, and the challenges that we were originally facing that caused us to use Ghost Inspector was that we wanted to have some automated UI tests that ran on a schedule that we could run against production to check that production was doing all the things that it should do and nothing was broken in production. Um, After we'd used Ghost Inspector in that way, we also decided to use Ghost Inspector to create automated tests that ran through our UI that we use as part of our continuous integration setup. Yeah. Hello. Yes. And how did Ghost Inspector help us to overcome the challenges we had? Well, Ghost Inspector helped us because tests are easy to create in Ghost Inspector and easy to maintain. Um, and as well as that, we could invoke the tests either by a schedule or we could invoke them using Ghost Inspector's API, both of which we use. And also, what's really helpful to us is that if a test fails, we can send notifications to Slack. So if we've got a test running in production, something fails, it comes straight to Slack, and we know immediately that we've got an issue to deal with. Hello, yeah. What features on Ghost Inspector do I find the most helpful? Well, I'd say the most helpful feature is modularization. Um, there is a setting within settings that means if I create a test, I can say this test can only be run as part of another test. And if I do that and I put within my module some steps which I use across a number of tests, then I can import that module into those tests. That means instead of having steps in each test, I can just have tests in this module, which means there's less test steps for me to maintain. It also means it's easier for me to create tests because I can import different modules into my tests and build up my tests in that way. Um, what I also like is the use of variables with different types of scope. So within a module, I could say use a variable, and I could therefore use the module with different values for that variable in different tests. Um, Something else I also like in Ghost Inspector is the fact that if there's a step that I want that isn't provided by Ghost Inspector, I can write it within JavaScript, and I think that's really helpful. Hello, yes, I would recommend Ghost Inspector to other businesses, and I'd do so because it's a reliable test automation tool that tests your application through the user interface. Um, I think I would also recommend it because it's something that's going to develop your testers' skills. If you've got testers that perhaps aren't familiar with programming, then they can get an understanding of development through this. Because if they're working and creating tests in Ghost Inspector, they'll want to use modularization. They'll also want to use the variables, and they can learn to write some JavaScript. These are all great skills. So I would say use Ghost Inspector in your business because it's a great tool for the business and it's a great tool for developing your testers' skills. Yeah, the last question is there anything else you would like to tell us? Well, I was thinking about this. The only thing I think I'd like to say that I haven't said so far is I've always found customer support at Ghost Inspector very helpful when I've had a problem, and I think they deserve lots of compliments for that. So thank you very much for everyone who works at customer support on Ghost Inspector.